has accused Afghanistan's Taliban government of fighting a proxy war on India's behalf. Casting doubts over the recently brokered 48-hour ceasefire between Islamabad and Kabul, Pakistan's Defence Minister Khawaja Asif has accused India of sponsoring the moves of the Afghan Taliban, even as India has maintained a stringent policy against terrorism over the years. Asif insinuated that Taliban's Foreign Minister Amir Muttaqi had made some ulterior plans during his recent 60-day visit to India, even though Muttaqi's Delhi visit was officially centered on trade and bilateral relations.
I have my doubts कि ये होल्ड करेगा, क्योंकि तालिबान जो है ना वो मैंने जिस तरह आपको कहा है ना कि वो इस वक्त उनके जो फैसले जो है ना वो सारे दिल्ली से स्पॉन्सर हो रहे हैं और मुत्तकी साहब एक हफ्ता वहां पे बैठे रहे हैं, अब वापस आ गए हैं, क्या प्लान लेके आए हैं। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि ये इस वक्त काबुल जो है वो दिल्ली की प्रॉक्सी वॉर लड़ रहा है। अब उसका उनका इन्फ्लुएंस जो है, जो हमारे कॉमन दोस्त हैं उनके इन्फ्लुएंस को काउंटर कर सकता है या नहीं कर सकता, उससे इन्फ्लुएंस हो सकता है नहीं हो सकता, देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन मार्क इन इट, इट्स अ बिट प्रीमैच्योर कि मैं उस पर कमेंट करूं।
Let me give a brief history of Afghanistan. Urban civilization in Afghanistan began 3000 to 2000 BC with early records from Achaemenid Empire. Arab Muslims introduced Islam after defeating the Sassanians in 637, followed by the rise of the Ghaznavid dynasty. The Mongols, led by Genghis Khan and later Timur, dominated until 1500. Ahmad Shah Durrani united Pashtun tribes in 1747, founding modern Afghanistan from the money which he looted from Hindustan. In 19th century, rulers like Dost Muhammad and Abdul Rahman balanced British and Russian pressures during the Great Game. Afghanistan gained full independence in 1919 but faced Soviet occupation 79 to 89, civil war, Taliban rule after 2001, US-led intervention allowed Hamid Karzai and subsequently Ghani to rule. Now, a 48-hour ceasefire between Afghanistan and Pakistan has taken place. After dozens of troops and civilians were killed, this cross-border raids has multiple issues. Repatriation of a lot of Afghans. Afghanistan believing that the Durand Line is the most incorrect thing to have happened, which is a 2,640-kilometer boundary between Pak-Afghan. It was based on agreement between Sir Mortimer Durand and Amir of Afghanistan of 1893. Pakistan wants to formalize the Durand Line as border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. No Afghan government accepts Durand Line as international border. Afghan people say Durand Line divides Pashtuns and Baluch. Pak continues to build checkposts along Durand lines. Afghan forces have retaliated, leading to deadly clashes. I am joined by Professor Swaran Singh and Ambassador Veena Sikri. Professor Swaran Singh, how serious is this problem for Pakistan? They must be thinking that they've got the Taliban there, so they can take orders from them.
I think that is the difference. Taliban, when it came in 1990s, was seen as the creation of Pakistan and therefore subservient to Pakistani interests. This was seen in terms of increased strategic depth of Pakistan vis-a-vis India. But Taliban 2.0 is very different, and they have right from beginning asserted themselves as they came to power in August of 2021. You remember Pakistan wanted to start, pushing them to make anti-India statements. This was a time when India had, reorganized India's Jammu and Kashmir. And even from that time, they have clearly, repeatedly mentioned that their relationship with other countries is not to be guided by Pakistan. And you remember Muttaqi here in Delhi said they have 5 neighbors. They are all fine other than Pakistan has a problem with them. And as you mentioned yourself, Durand Line has not been acceptable to successive leaders in Afghanistan. And now Taliban is asserting that the fact that Durand Line is not acceptable to them, which means that this land boundary dispute will continue to be a point of discordance. Now, how violent it becomes will be reflected in terms of several other factors contributing. But this is not going to disappear, and I think repeatedly this will see violence happening on the border. And they have somehow managed this ceasefire for 48 hours, but even on that, there are different variations. Taliban is saying ceasefire will continue as long as both sides don't violate it. But you heard Khawaja Asif saying he doesn't trust about the durability of the ceasefire. So even now, the fact that it was to start at 5:30 according to Taliban, at 6 p.m. according to Pakistan, there are variations, and I hope that ceasefire sustains. But that boundary dispute is very significant part of determining their bilateral relationship. And given other factors, this could sort of ratchet up or sometime become violent, as we are seeing becoming violent right now. And both sides are
So,
claiming
but,
large
you know, sir,
casualties.
it proves two things.
Taliban.
One, that Afghanistan, Ambassador Sikri, is a historical cultural entity. Pakistan is not. That's one. And secondly, it again proves that Islam cannot form the basis of some sort of a fraternity, or else they would have been the best friends. It proves two things. And before that, what do you make of the statement of the Defence Minister, madam?
Well, I think first and foremost, it is Pakistan's very old habit to blame India for anything that's gone wrong. This kind of playing the victim card suddenly, when things are going right, then they think they are the ones who are causing everything to go right. And when things are going wrong, promptly they play the victim card, and now they're blaming India. Like they say that they are themselves the victim of terror. Now they are saying they are victims of this clash with Afghanistan because of India. They've totally forgotten that while Foreign Minister Muttaqi was in India on the very first day of his arrival, it was Pakistani aircraft who bombed Kabul. And they were seeking to hit a Toyota Land Cruiser in which the TTP leader was supposed to have been, being a passenger in that vehicle. Of course, it was wrong information. They say that there was absolutely no vehicle, nobody in that vehicle, etc., etc. But Pakistan did bomb Afghanistan on that day, thinking that with this effort, Foreign Minister Muttaqi will immediately abandon his visit to India and go back to Kabul. Now that is what has not happened, and I think that Foreign Minister Muttaqi's second press conference in India on Sunday made it very clear that they are not interested at all in taking these kind of orders from Pakistan, and they maintain that we will be able to hold our own and we will show the Pakistanis what it is. And it seems that in the second round of clashes, to which the ceasefire is supposed to have been declared by now, we don't know what it's like. But in the second round of clashes, the Afghans are getting the better of the Pakistan army and the border forces. And there seems to be a lot of loss of life and a lot of loss of equipment. And there was a Pakistani tank parading the streets of Kabul as well. So I think that, as Professor Swaraj Singh correctly said, this old animosities between Pakistan and Afghanistan, you're absolutely right. It shows that Islam is not a binding factor at all between these two countries, and they are, in their own right, they want Pashtun integration, the combination of the two sides of Pashtunistan, which was artificially divided by the Durand Line, which was at one time supposed to be, just a 100-year line, but now everybody is trying to paper over that part of history and is saying that no, this is a permanent border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. But this has never been accepted by Afghanistan, and these clashes are going to continue because, combined with this non-acceptance of the line of the Durand Line as the international border by Afghanistan, you also have the other complaints of Afghanistan. They don't allow Afghan goods to come either by the land route from India or via Karachi port. So they are perpetually, turning off and on this weapon of connectivity and transit of goods, which is a very, very difficult for the people of Afghanistan.
Okay.
And that is why Chabahar port is so important for us.
Okay. Professor Swaraj Singh, there's a Taliban one, there's a Taliban 2. Taliban 2 is also intermeshed with Haqqani network, TTP. Can India really trust this set of so many terrorist organizations together, which are in charge of Kabul, which is so much different from Ghani and Karzai administration?
That's true, that not just that a large part of the world, including India, at some stage used to treat Taliban as a terrorist organization. But we have noticed that the world's approach to some of these organizations, for example, HTS in Syria or Taliban in Afghanistan, global approach has become far more pragmatic and shall we say, accommodating as far as some of these new realities are concerned. So India has noticed that even Taliban has been much more pragmatic in terms of how it is exploring relationships with other countries. And it has a very different relationship. It's no longer a kind of a prodigy of Pakistan, but it wants to stand on its own feet. And what is different here is that, here is a Taliban that was fighting United States for 2 decades. It's a very hardened and sort of toughened fighting force in that sense, which has large amount of equipment, which was left behind by Americans. And therefore, one has to take things with a lot of caution. And it's not just India. Most of the neighboring major powers are concerned that there is a potential if the cohesion of Taliban and other various outfits there doesn't work very well, it could lead to radicalization, could lead to Islamic State or Al Qaeda, finding itself back again as a sanctuary in
there's another
Afghanistan.
aspect. There's another aspect. Very quickly, this is the closing comment, Ambassador Veena Sikri. Pakistan still has more leverage in terms of their Quetta Shura, the way they can influence the civil society, the way there is a people-to-people interaction all across the border, from Baluchistan till Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Do you think they can leverage that pressure to recreate internal working arrangement of the government of the day in Taliban? Is that a possibility, madam?
Well, for the 20 years that America was in charge in Afghanistan between 2001 and 2021, and of course the Hamid Karzai and President Ghani governments, at that time, the Taliban was very much pushed into Pakistan, and what you say about the Quetta Shura, etc., is all very correct. But the point is that Pakistan has tried to maintain its leverage through the Quetta Shura, but I don't think they're succeeding this time. In fact, all those 20 years, Pakistan was doing both things, pretending to befriend America and giving American access through Pakistan and all that, and at the same time supporting the Quetta Shura and all the Taliban organizations in Pakistan. They were absolutely riding two horses at the same time. But their bluff was called after 2021 when the Taliban government is taking a very pragmatic approach. They do not want to be seen in any way as a second line of Pakistan. They want to be independent. They want to develop their own relations, and they don't accept what Pakistan is doing, commanding them to do. So now their visit of Foreign Minister Muttaqi to India showed that. He stayed here for 6 days. He met a lot of people. He went to Darul Uloom.
I think that has unnerved them. I think his 6-day visit and his going to Deoband, that will be a separate conversation. I think that has really unnerved the Pakistanis. Thank you both of you for joining me. I've run short of time. So this was on point 2, but don't go away. On point 3 is on the return of the Jungle Raj debate in Bihar.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा के संग त्योहार की उमंग।
डेली मुझे कॉन्स्टिपेशन की प्रॉब्लम होती है, मैं क्या करूं? 2 स्पून काफी है। ये प्रॉब्लम दूर करने के लिए लायन डेट सिरप। इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन, बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। फाइबर, कॉन्स्टिपेशन से रोकथाम। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं। लायन डेट सिरप रोजाना 2 स्पून।
इंडियन ऑयल स्वागत पेट्रोल पंप, क्योंकि स्वागत है हैप्पी जर्नी की रेसिपी।
The Jungle Raj debate has returned to take centre stage in Bihar in the run-up to the assembly elections in November. And this Jungle Raj debate has been sparked because BJP feels that this is the best way to remind people that in case, if they are voted out, the days of the Lalu Prasad Yadav will return. And what added ghee to the fire was fielding Muhammad Shahabuddin's son, Osama Sahib, in the upcoming Bihar assembly elections, saying that such decision proved the alliance that represents for change today actually represents the Jungle Raj era. Now, to put it in a larger perspective, it's not as if the Bahubalis are not part of the fray in Bihar. Anand Singh, Dumal Singh and Amir Pandey are also in the list, and they are from the other side of the spectrum. But let us just listen to what Yogi Adityanath said on the Jungle Raj, and let me straight away introduce my guest after that as to why this is being repeated again and again, because this is an election on the performance of Nitish Kumar, who has been the Chief Minister of the state for 20 years.
1990 से 2005 तक बिहार का जंगल राज और परिवारवाद आपने देखा होगा। कौन वे लोग थे जिन्होंने बिहार की ज्ञान भूमि को, बिहार की इस आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान भूमि को परिवारवाद और अपराध की भूमि बना करके यहां के हमारे नौजवानों के सामने पहचान का संकट खड़ा कर दिया था। यहां विकास के नाम पर उस कालखंड में किस प्रकार की अराजकता फैलाई गई थी, ये किसी से छुपा हुआ नहीं। विकास के नाम पर यहां पर पेशेवर गुंडे और माफियाओं को सत्ता का संरक्षण 1990 से 2005 के बीच में प्रदान करके पूरे बिहार के विकास को बाधित कर दिया गया था।
अब ये उड़न पक्षी आते रहेंगे पूरे चुनाव भर, ये तो भाजपा का एक एजेंडा है। उड़न पक्षी आते हैं, चुनाव में जुमलों का बौछार करते हैं, फिर अगले राज्य की तरफ उड़ान भर देते हैं। इनका काम ही है, इससे कोई तो फर्क नहीं पड़ता। हाँ, ठीक कहा, भ्रष्टाचार में भारी विकास हुआ है, बेरोजगारी में भारी विकास हुआ है, पलायन में भारी विकास हुआ है, पोल बनते ही ढह जाते हैं। ये सब बहुत विकास हुआ है नीतीश कुमार के राज में।
Okay, very quickly let me introduce my guest. I'm joined by Manish Barrier, spokesperson BJP, Garma Mehra Dosani, Congress spokesperson, my input editor Brijesh Pandey. Let me straight away go to Manish. Manish, why is there so much of focus on this Jungle Raj issue? I think there should be a conversation around what Nitish has delivered in the last 20 years. So why is this being referenced by senior BJP leaders in the last 48 hours, sir?
Namaskar to you and to my co-panelists and all the viewers. See, it is very important for everyone to understand why it keeps getting repeated, because people do not want the repeat of what happened. Now, let me give you 5 to 6 parameters on which you can judge as to what really they did. See, in terms of law and order, there was a kidnapping raj, right? There was like records were broken in terms of murders, rape, and kidnapping. There has never been a government in independent India's history where the chief minister was involved in settling cases of ransom. It is unthinkable. It only happens in movies. During that time, it crossed those, wildest imagination of movies also. Let us look at corruption. Now, it is not hidden from everyone that, the leader of the party is a convict. That too in a corruption cases. Recently, again, this land and for jobs, it is not hidden again. मतलब सबसे जमीन लिखवाते थे, आप जॉब दो और रेलवे की जमीन लेके चले जाओ. That kind of thing, and it was brazen. Every person knew that if you want a job from railway minister, you have to put land and then you will get a job.
आपको कहने का मतलब है कि लोगों को याद दिलाने की जरूरत है.
See, it is in the interest of Bihari people for them to remember and not to forget their history.
Okay.
Right? Let us take up economic performance.
No, okay. ठीक है, you made one point. Let Garima counter that. You're saying it is important for the Bihari people to remember. Garima.
See, it's quite funny that whenever BJP runs short of issues, it takes out the Pandora box of Jungle Raj. It's so funny, and probably they're scared and they're scared because of the growing popularity and increasing connect of Mahagathbandhan with the Bihar's youth. For nearly 17 years, BJP shared power in Bihar. What stopped them from improving the law and order situation? Today, if they call Bihar Jungle Raj, they are condemning their own tenure. Today, the youth of Bihar wants a life of dignity, self-esteem. When I was in school, I read a beautiful poem by Rabindranath Tagore, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. That is what Bihar is looking for. They're looking for a life of dignity. Now, he has quoted here a few data. So I would also like to do, for 2 decades of JDU and BJP government's misgovernance has contributed to high poverty and backwardness in Bihar. 94 lakh families earn less than 200 per day. That becomes 600 per month, 6,000 per month. Poverty rates are higher amongst SCs and STs. Less than 10% of people of Bihar have completed 12th standard. 95% people don't have a vehicle. Bihar has the highest poverty rate in country according to 2024 Niti Aayog report. Bihar remains the worst performing state according to Niti Aayog's report of 2024. Zero poverty
basically,
index,
Garima,
zero hunger index, quality of education,
Garima,
decent to work and economic growth index.
Okay, you're
so
giving
what do
C.
they have to say about it?
Okay, you're giving
C. You are talking about Jungle Raj after what we have seen in Manipur. Manipur is burning.
Okay, Garima, the debate is on Garima, the debate is on Bihar, not on Manipur. Brijesh. Well, I would say that, that the scars of the Jungle Raj of, during the Lalu Prasad Yadav's tenure is real. Of people of certain vintage would not forget it. But I think, when you look at it after 20 years, then, it becomes a bit of hollow. But the reason why I'm saying it makes it a hollow claim is that, out of 20 years, BJP has been part of JDU. JDU has been there for 20 years. If the, I would say that the stains of Jungle Raj is there, if BJP feels that there is Jungle Raj, I think, one of the biggest proponent or the person who would be under the microscopic scrutiny should be Nitish Kumar. Okay. Because you have been in power for 20 years. The reason why you got called Sushashan Babu was the kind of turnaround you effected along with the BJP from 2004, 2005 onwards during 2 sessions where the rule of the law returned back to Bihar. But after 20 years, still going back to 1995 is and we got to see what happened in the last election. Okay, Manish, yes, to you.
Yeah, I do not know how much, if he is from Bihar, then that is very much welcome. But I don't think he'll be able to understand the emotional scars that people have really faced during his time. So, it's very difficult for people to really understand that who these people are. It's very difficult. Here is a leader here is a criminal who actually put 2 persons in acid and he died. Muhammad Shahabuddin. His son, Lalu Yadav, is giving him ticket like a, celebration. You are talking about these kind of people coming back to power. I can understand when you talk 20 years, but the alternative, if it is this, then probably I think Bihari people would be very well served with a kind of clean government, with the kind of governance and the kind of things that this government has done. There was no law and order. I need not repeat. There was no investments. There were nobody. After 6 o'clock, people were not ready. See, it's very easy to forget. And sometimes, unfortunately, as a nation, we forget our history and we are not supposed to do that. Otherwise, history repeats itself. We all understand that. Okay. So you need to be a part of this society to really understand that how every non-Bihari businessman, they left, right? So right from Gujaratis to Marwaris to Sikhs to Bengalis, they all left this land. There's no one who, for investment left. Why did they leave? And why did they come back during Nitish Kumar's rule? Okay. That is also a moot point. There's no investment at that time. Okay. So it's very easy to come to the studio, talk about all these things, but then you have to experience it. When normal people, normal doctors, normal engineers, low middle class people, they would get ransom calls and their sons and daughters would be taken away.
Your closing
then comment. You will understand what I'm talking about.
Okay, you are saying that it was a lived experience.
Manish here is talking about the non-Biharis leaving Bihar. But what about the local people? Why are the lakhs of youth leaving Bihar, migrating from Bihar in the lack of employment?
If you are from Punjab, I'm sorry, if you are from Punjab.
Manish, I didn't speak in between. Manish, I didn't interrupt you. This is no way of debating.
No, I'm going to listen. I'm sorry.
See, the real Jungle Raj is when people are silenced, when the journalists are being jailed, when the minorities are being attacked, and that is happening in Bihar. There are so many people migrating from Bihar. Today, Bihar doesn't need a name calling. Bihar needs jobs. Bihar needs education. It needs social justice. That is what is lacking. And
because what you two have been doing,
literally, right? You don't have any achievement.
You don't have any achievement. You gave a broken system. It takes time. You look at Bihar's GSDP. For last 20 years, it has been growing.
The real
one of the top ones.
When those in power spread, when those in power spread fear instead of faith in people. When they spread propaganda
you will
instead
not be
of
able to
progressive
understand.
people.
You are outside, you will
the
not
youth,
understand. I'm
the
sure
youth
about
is
it.
connecting with the Mahagathbandhan,
Okay,
and this
wait a
is your
minute.
fear.
Please
and
wait a
Yogi
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Adityanath's
I've run
fear
short of
which is
time.
speaking.
Brijesh, do you think it's Jungle Raj or women who will call the shots? Very quickly.
It's women who are going to call the shots, and Jungle Raj is there. But which party is not fielding Bahubalis? I mean, who is Anand Singh? Is he a saint? Everyone know who is Anand Singh. Is BJP going to denounce? Is BJP going to distance itself from JDU? Same is the case in every state with every party. I mean, there is no party which is, if the parties decide that they are not going to give tickets to any of these Bahubalis, do you think they are going to get tickets?
So tell me, how will the election move? Do you think it's going to move around women the way it moved in Madhya Pradesh, Ladli Behna of Maharashtra, or the Bihar is going to go the other way?
I think women will play a very decisive role as far as electing who's the new chief
Are
minister
women with
going to be.
Nitish right now, or are they moving away?
I think, I don't know for sure whether they're moving away from Nitish, but one thing is for sure that if you go by last three elections, women are very, very solidly behind Nitish Kumar.
Why? Very quickly.
Because he has introduced 2005 onwards, as I said, it was return of the rule of the law in Bihar. Nobody can deny that, you may be pro or anti any party or any government. Nobody can deny what happened before 2004. Nobody can deny that. That's how I started my debate with that is an era where the scars were real.
Okay, I really run short of time. I really run short of time. I really need to hand over the baton. One day we'll do a debate on the women of Bihar, because I think women are calling shots in this country for the correct reason, and they should be calling shots in every sphere of life. Women decided elections in Madhya Pradesh, women decided elections in Maharashtra, and I think our understanding is that women will call the shots in Bihar. Again, thank you Manish, thank you Garima. Next time we'll have a lot of space and time to have a deeper discussion because Bihar matters. And this is all I had on Point today. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you and good night.
How many influencers do you use at this stage for your marketing?
So right now, typically we are doing about hundreds of influencers every month.
100 or hundreds?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. So I mean, they happens when we started influencers, we were doing 10k, 15k influencers, 20k influencers in a go. But since we had those issues with the personalities and the character, so then we boiled down to fewer. But the idea is that it is an ever-growing problem, because you cannot use the same face again and again.